Why scientific publications with impact factor? For which we should understand what is the kind of research. The organizing secretary, when in her opening remarks, said that research should be robust. And for that, what are the areas, the trends, the themes that should reflect when we do, when we think in terms of publishing on high index journals? It should be a demographic alteration should be included in the research, increasing diversities and globalization, technology innovation, individualized or personal care and population health initiatives, health policies and regulations, nursing workforce changes. These trends, if we include in our research, then we can look in terms of publishing it in a high index journal. So these are a broad perspective of doing a research instead of, because they always say nursing goes with KFE studies, they are not going into the depth of it. So the current trend, the themes should be captured by our research before we think in terms of a high index publication. The nurses must be graduated to qualify for the nursing position. And the creation of a special research department, as you all have, is in the growing number of educational institution, organization. These pushes in terms of publishing in a high index journal and greater emphasis on research even at the UG level. We are also doing for post basics and undergraduate, and we have already started on publishing their project work in the high indexed journals, because of course we are NAC accredited deemed universities, and it becomes our sole necessity to go in for a publication. Coming to the types of publication, we should understand what are the types of publication that is available and where it is this high index publications. You know that social media, that you take in a continuum, you start off with the lowest thing, that is social media. Anyone can write a blog, anyone can put anything on the Insta or in your FB. That becomes a social media. It is momentary. It doesn't carry any value. Sometimes if it is wrong, then it might take people in a different business. Web pages, what we are doing in our own university, today's event, tomorrow's event, like that. So that is also a very short life period that has got. Newspaper means you have one day life for it. Conference proceedings means there is a week's time, that is up till that conference is going and till that is getting over, people will keep talking, and maybe in a week's time it will go off, it will go to the shelves of your library. Magazines and scientific journals, which is not indexed or anything, then it becomes 1 to 2 years, you can have it, and later on it passes away. Whereas if you take it in references with books and other high index, it moves on for several years, and the name of the person, the professional, is going to stand there in the publication. And that is where the high index journal publications are brought in. So this is per se. Earlier, even when I started a career, I used to concentrate. If you take magazines and scientific journals, that time, I hope you all will remember 2001, 2 and all, when Nightingale nursing times came. So when Dr. Prabhudeva, the editor, he is known to me, so he used to call and say, Sharadha madam, you give an article. So I was very happy to give something. Months to years, it goes like that. Later on only I realized that this is not the end where I have to move on to the next grid. And that is the other high index book, which will take the name of the professional. Now let's look into the types of journals that we have here in any nursing journal. Now, how do we say that it has got high impact or it's not a high impact journal? How do we select it? There are two components to any publication. One is, as the keynote speaker, the open note that they have given is the good research. And I have given you the 6 themes, the trends that should be involved in any research that will be captured in the high index journal. And that's going to stand. The second thing that we have to look into is the type of the journal, the choice of journal that we have to have. Just earlier, my previous slide, I told you magazines and journals, scientific journals. Every journal is a journal only. We should honor that. But the problem there is it will stay only for months and years unless you go in for a high index. Now, coming to this type of a journal, so those becomes a general journal, which will, your article will be there, the author's name will be there, but it will not carry you ahead of the career. So that is one thing. The discipline specific journals are the ones which will have the high impact and things like that. And what are those? So here we have Scopus Index. All of us know that. Web of Science, UGC CARE listed 1 and 2 journals, Google Scholar journals. Now, in the order itself, I have given it that way that A, B, C. It has got a particular order. Scopus means it's number one. Definitely it's number one. WOS journals or Web of Sciences becomes the next level grid. UGC CARE listed journals, of course, now NAC is also insisting on UGC CARE list, so you can look at Google Scholar journals. As we move on, we will let you know how this is differing from the other things. Now, coming to the Scopus journal, why everyone is crying about the Scopus journal? Everyone says Scopus, Scopus. If you ask the director, they say this is Scopus. And that also not only in Q3 and Q4 quartile. They want it in Q1 and Q2 quartile, and it cost us a bomb. I'm sure many of our faculty members would have approached. Even I undergo that. A lot of bargaining and things like that I have to do with the publishers because it is very costly and fair. But then Scopus is Scopus. It is gold. You cannot reduce that golden standard. So Scopus is a database which has got the largest abstract and citation database of peer-reviewed literature in that discipline-specific area. Scientific journals, books, and conference proceedings also can come into the Scopus if they apply that. And delivering a comprehensive overview of the world research output is there in the Scopus in the field of science, technology, engineering, medicine, social science, arts, and humanities. Scopus features the smart tools to track, analyze, and visualize the research. That's why it is a golden standard. The next thing we are looking at is WOS, that is Web of Science. It is most popular, highly reputed journal indexing database in the entire group. Highly recognized for its authenticity, quality of the journal, indexed in its database. So as we move on, when we search the journals, we should look at all these. It's there on their cover page. It's there on their cover web page itself. So there's no difficulty for us to look into it. The WOS selection is made on the basis of how does a journal become a WOS. As I said, Scopus is number of citation, the world overview, they become Scopus. Whereas WSO is, or the Web of Sciences, impact evaluations. Lot of impact evaluation must have undergone for all the articles that the journals are presenting. And that journal only will go into WOS. And most of it comprises of open access journals. As we move on, we'll let you know. I'll tell you what is the importance and how the open access journals are important for us. Spanning multiple academic disciplines. This is one of the biggest, advantage of publishing in a WOS. Coverage includes all sciences. You can social science, arts and humanities, and across discipline it moves. So per se, WOS or the Web of Science gives you a larger visibility for the author. And the UGC, the University Grants Commissions Consortium for Academic Research and Practice. That is what is UGC CARE listed journals. If you open the UGC website itself, there is a dedicated box for that. You just click in, you will get all the UGC CARE list. All of us know that. I'm sure you all must be doing it. UGC CARE list is what the importance of this UGC CARE is more Desi one, that is Indian. It's more of an Indian origin, and we are in India, so it's more easy for us to move on to that. The UGC CARE list is classified into sciences, social sciences, arts and humanities, multidisciplinary based on all science journal classification, yes, JC. So that also is there. Now, why this UGC has come up with this is, UGC, as I told, it's the Desi kind of a platform for the authors to present their publications. It stimulates, empower, and help growth in Indian academia through quality mandate. So that is why UGC has come out. When international can do it, so many Scopus, Elsevier is bringing in everything. So why not the professors of the Indian origin have this? And also the UGC wants to eradicate any plagiarism, subpar material that might damage the reputation and standards at the international research level for the Indian scenario. So that is why UGC, and it also helps in promoting quality, academic integrity, and publication, and to prevent publications in dubious, predatory, substandard journals. I'm sure everyone in your mail inbox, you must be getting a lot of dubious, predatory journals saying, you come to us within 10 days, we will publish, we will give you this, that. But we have to be very cautious. The predatory journals will charge for a bomb, but they may not be. So that's why we say you go and check in the Scopus. There's a team in the research department work whether it's really a Scopus Index journal. They claim the Scopus Index. They'll be like a cat on the wall. They are on the quartile 4. And quartile 4, anytime they can fall the other way, that they are not no more a Scopus. And that becomes a substandard. I've heard people saying that they spend so much thousands of money for publishing article, but finally it was not a Scopus. It was not considered in the university credit. Google Scholar Journals. All of you know that Google Scholar Journals, all of us are having, anyone who's having a Gmail with the accreditation or affiliation with the university, we have a Google Scholar account also, which is a freely accessible web search engine, and it indexes the full text or a metadata of a scholarly literature with an array of publishing format and disciplines. And it includes most peer-reviewed online academic journals, books, conferences. We say it's like a Google Sami. Everything you get there. Preprints, abstracts, technical reports, and other scholarly reports. The Google Scholar journals are really good, but it is not scientifically very strong. That's because it includes blindly everything. And sometimes pseudoscience journals are also included, and it also includes predatory journals. That is why they in our university or NAC keeps telling you go with Scopus or you go with UGC Careless. So Google Scholar is a large search engine. You can do a lot of things in that. But the problem there is it is not that quality constrained. The standards there, the SOP there is it includes predatory journals, it includes any journal, and there is no dutiful, editing and filtering of the journals like Scopus. So that is why Google Scholar journals are not accepted by any of the this thing. So what are the categories of rankings? We have high impact factor journals. All of you know that high impact factor journals. We are moving with all these things. EBSCO is there, Crossref is there, Google Scholar is there, SJR is there, Scopus of course is there, Clarivate Analytics is there, Open Access, many of us know that we are doing it, DOI directory is there. So these are some of the categories of rankings. And as you can see, the first rank goes to the high impact factor journal. Let's move on with one by one. What is all these things? The impact of a journal, how this goes with this, it is expressed in terms of the first one, impact factor. What is an impact factor? Why everyone is saying impact? It's an objective measurement of a journal's validity. And the objectivity is given in terms of numerical figures, number, mark, like that they are giving for us to understand it easy. And it is the parameter for highlighting the relative significance of a journal is through the high impact factor. If there is a high impact factor, then you know that the journal is a very good journal. Design, for example, Nature journal gives the highest impact. So even to publish BMJ, British Medical Journal, these are very difficult to publish even because they are numerically they are evaluated. How they got that? They have measured it that way and designed to scale the number of times a journal has been cited. How they got this score? The journal has been many a times cited by many people. Citation, I'm sure many of them are doing false practices. I'm sure many of you must have come across that also. But these are not journals of that kind. Citation has been done properly across the world for the kind of quality research that they are having in that particular journal. And that's how the impact factor. So simply how the impact is defined is number of times a journal has been cited worldwide. So that is how the design goes. And it indicates the frequency with which an article appears, like quality articles, big Nobel Prize winners. These are the articles that come in the high impact journal, and it acts as a measuring medium for number of citation received by article in a particular journal. So if I say it's an impact factor, one is the journal itself has been cited number of times. The other thing is the article is many times cited by many other people in many other ways. And if a published article is cited one time, it denotes one impact factor. So that is how number of, and across the years, it has to be calculated. It's not just one time and you get one score. Number of times in a year it has been done, and then they calculate this impact factor. So that's a analytics that is made by the software, and they are doing it. And that's how that high impact factor is coming up. Now, for us we'll have to just look at the numerical value. We need not look at how they are calculating this analytics. It's the general knowledge that we are looking at. The more the impact factor, the better the journal that we are in choice. And it is difficult to get into that. Now, who does that? Calculate Pandra, journal citation reports. There is a system or a software that across the world, they are calculating it. And if you can see that 10 plus is the highest impact factor, that's a score that you can see. So what they do, this JCR report, every year, they are looking at the journal, they collect the database, they look at how many times these journals have been cited across. That's a total analytics machinery that's working on this JCR. And then they calculate the impact factor. That is why when they say high impact factor journal, then that means it's like a gold or a diamond that you're having. So that this is how they are doing. Now, who does it? Is simply the journal citation reports are doing. It's a big machinery that's like your Elsevier publication or EBSCO. They're sitting and doing this, and they rank these journals. Now, if they rank it, the number of journals across the world as of now, there are 239 journals with 10 plus impact factor. And what that means, it is 1.9% of the journal that is available in the market. Look at the bandwidth of it. Now you see the last rung, that is 4 plus. 4 plus, if you see, there are 1,399 journals and it's 11.4%, but that is not having much of a value for us. So this JCR is a system who does this analytics across the world. Now, if you see this, the last one, see 3 plus impact factor means there are 2,575 discipline specific journals. That is around 21% journals are there. If you see 0 plus, there is no impact at all. Look at the number. 12,298 journals are available in the market on your web pages, on your Google, but it does not have any impact factor. So if you're going to publish them, then that will not carry any value to the person. In one place, you see 8,000 and odd journals are there. So that is the reason they say you go in for a high impact factor journal, because your visibility is more, then your article is more reliable, more, the veracity of the research is very good there. And the world is looking at that particular article in a better way. And it's, as I put in my first page, the continuum, it's going to stand for several years. So that is why high impact factor is done. Now, who does it? Is the journal citation report. That's a machinery which evaluates this whole thing. The next thing is this: not all journals are tracked in the JCR database. Why we have very less? The number here we are giving is 200 and odd journals. As a result, because they are not able to consider certain journals for various reasons, because they consider the quality, they consider the visibility, all these factors include in the JCR database. If the JCR database is not pulling out that, then you don't get the impact factor. If there is no impact factor, then there is no point in an author to publish it. So it's like a triangle. where you are doing. So always look at whether there is a JCR database in the for that particular journal. Then it is easy for us. But that again you have to check. I think many of the research departments of the university do that. They do a ground check and tell us that this is a good one. You can go ahead in publishing before you spend the money from your pocket. And because many universities do give a reimbursement of the publishing money, but if you have to get a proper reimbursement, then refunded money, then you have to be really doing it in a proper high impact factor. Otherwise, nobody gives you money. So we have to be a bit careful before we spend it from our pocket and get it refunded. So look at two things. One is whether it's a high impact. If they claim the journal claims it's high impact, or the publication printing people say that this journal is good, madam, you can publish. There is 4+, 5+ impact factor. We can do our own ground check through the JCR database. Just go type journal citation, this thing. You get the database, check whether this particular name of the journal is reflecting there for this year. Then you get the do that. So you can spend the money if it is worth it. You can always spend the money and do the publication, because none of the publication goes without paying the money. And many of the JCR database, what happens is they don't include the new journals. Journals until they have reached certain amount of citation, that they have a benchmark for that. If they have certain citation, they include in their database. That is why these high impact factor journals are very seldom for us to, especially nursing. It's very difficult to get good journals, or we have a very handful of journals for this, and we are struggling to do that. That's the reason. Of course, it is sort of an inversely proportional thing. The JCR database captures good journals, they remove new journals, they don't accept the predatory journals, they're looking for the citations for that particular year for that journal. Then only they include in the database. By the time they do all these things, we are pressed on publication. I'm sure you all have two as a PAR API score. Two deep university faculty have to present, professors will have to do publications, and otherwise then your PAR API score doesn't carry that. So that is where our challenge comes. But a little bit of shrewd work probably we will be through it. And the scientific worth of an individual article has nothing to do with the impact factor of a journal. Remember that. Sometimes articles which are published in high impact factor later on can go in for certain litigations, and they do retract it. That is because they are not looking at the worth of the article, but they are looking at the worth of the author, worth of the citation, and worth of the journal in itself. How long it is being a player there. So that is the difference there. The second thing you have is EBSCO. Elton B. Stephens Company. The full EBSCO, the expansion is Elton B. Stephens Company EBSCO. It is the largest global provider for subscription. I'm sure all of our libraries are EBSCO based reference databases and online journals. It offers its security and privacy software product, EBSCO client base in the library and business community. Or many of our digital libraries are EBSCO supported, and it provides a range of library database services. And many of the databases such as Medline, EconLit are licensed from content vendors. They get the license from the content vendor, take it to the EBSCO, and that is why EBSCO is a good one. The other thing is you have the which was launched in early 2000. Many research outputs, easy to find, cite, link, access, and reuse. And it's not for profit membership organization. Exists to make scholarly communications better. And it is run by Publishers International Linking Association, Inc., PILA. PILA is the one which runs this. A corporate effect among a publisher. Actually, how this came up is with the publishers felt that why all these academicians are suffering like this? They're going into predatory journals. It's the quality of publication is not there. So all these publishers put their brains together and brought in this to make a cross-publisher citation linking in online academic journal. For example, I'm running one journal, you're running one journal. You go into that, and then there's a cross publisher citation we can do. and that goes into the EBSCO, and then the journal becomes a high impact factor, and it's easy for the academician to go. And these EBSCO database is given to all the libraries, so the libraries can get the service providers work, and it's easy for us to do that. And the other one is the this is Google Scholar. Google Scholar, I'm sure all of us have gone through this Google Scholar. We have our own algorithm of how we are doing it. It allows the user to search digital or physical copies. Anything you just type, you get it on the Google Scholar. It's very easy on a Google Scholar. Full text journal articles. And one thing we should remember is if you're having a Gmail, always get the Gmail of your affiliated institution. For example, I am with Vinayaka Mission, then my affiliated email should be with the Vinayaka Mission email platform only. Other than that, if you do, then all your Google Scholar scores will vanish away. So always the affiliated university or the affiliated workplace should be the email ID that we are presenting, not the general Gmail ID. If you're getting that, then it's difficult to get all the algorithm of your analytics about your own authorship. It gives you everything. I'm sure all of you have done it. And it is cited by feature. Google Scholar provides access to abstracts of articles, and the indexing previously only found in CiteSeer, Scopus, and Web of Science is now here also you have indexing is being done. So Google Scholar Engine is gives you all the full data, metadata of the literature, an array of publishing formats and disciplines you get, and it includes most peer-reviewed online academic journals, books, conference papers, theses, dissertation, preprints, abstracts, technical reports, and other scholarly literature, including court opinions and patent. So this much of things that Google Scholar is giving. But then it is not a foolproof system. That's why we are not taking it as a to calculate in either in your accreditation for NAC or in a PAR ABA score. They are not taking it. The other one is Schimago Journal Rank Indicator. This is a Schimago. I'm sure many of you must have seen it, SJR. Schimago is also one of the vendors the publishers who does it. It expresses the average number of weighted citations received in the selected year by the document published in the selected journal in the three previous. Then Schimago Journal Rank is there. All that SJR is there. All that they are telling. SJR scores are computed using a network analysis, citations received by journals. And there is a methodology of accounting the number of citation and source of citation. And citation from high prestige journals is being taken here. And with lower prestigious journal, they may or may not take. That is the difference between the Schimago. They don't just include anything. The other one is our Scopus. Scopus is an Elsevier database. The Elsevier publishers, I'm sure all of you know the Elsevier publisher, abstract and citation database. They launched in the year 2004, and it covers nearly 36,377 titles, 22,794 active titles, 13,383 inactive titles. So it's such a huge database the Elsevier is having, the Scopus. And there are 11,678 publishers under them with 34,346 peer-reviewed journals. And it is all top-level subject field, life sciences. You just click on the life sciences, you get an array of journals. Social science, physical science, it's all hyperlinked. Just click on it, you get. I don't want to open that now, but still I'm telling you, health science. So that is why Scopus is a very important database. It covers all the three types of material. That is your book series also it covers. It covers journals. It covers trade journals. The journals covered in the Scopus database are reviewed for sufficiently high quality each year. It's every year they are doing it. That's the key point there. Every year there. That's why last year one journal will be there in Q4. This year it will not be in Scopus. They would have removed it. You must be wondering, last month up till September, I've had such instances, my personal this thing. I published my paper Q4 journal in one of the journal September. Luckily, it came in September. October, they removed it from Scopus. So, had it been in October, my publication, I would have lost one Scopus. So dangerous play that is altogether. And patent databases also are there in Scopus. That's why everyone is trying, Scopus. Because you see how many things it is covering. Unlike other, even the EBSCO is not giving, Web of Science, nobody is giving like that. Scopus is giving you everything. Patent also you can do. It gives you four types of numerical quality measure for each title. The minute you start presenting a paper, the publisher an article, it gives you a side score, gives you an H index, it gives you a schemago journal rank. Earlier we said SJR, the schemago journal rank. SNIP also it is giving. Scopus is giving you SNIP, that is source normalized impact per paper. How much of impact your paper as an author you are getting it. That is why some of the scientists you must have seen, they say my H index is 10, 15, 20. It's whooping on the Scopus. Whereas H index in Google Scholar also you get. You just go and search your analytics, you will know. There also you get. But that is not worthy. That is not worthy. If you get it from Scopus, then it is a big thing. So the four types of numerical quality measure the Scopus is doing, and it covers your affiliation. See why the university is asking you to do the Scopus. Remember, the minute we publish a paper, it covers the affiliation. So the university is in the limelight. Not only the academician, whereas in all the other publications, the author name only will be the limelight. Affiliation is not there in the limelight. Whereas if you do it on a Scopus, affiliating place, the place of work for the university is also carrying that highlight. A number of publications and their bibliographic data, how popular you are as a scientist, how popular you are as a nurse scientist, all that is captured in Scopus, not in other areas of things. That's why we cry on Scopus references and the number of citations you get. If you get the site score high in Scopus, then you are doing very well as a scientist, researcher, nurse researcher. Alerting feature that allows registered users track changes to a profile. You can also do that. Facility to calculate author's H index. I told you, H index of the author, H index of the affiliation university or the affiliating body. The organization also gets a H index. That's why when we are working in a university, when we are working in a place, you publish. That's why they insist, no, our university say you write the university name before publishing. So that's because both of us get the score. As an author, I get the H index. As a affiliating university, they get the H index. See, both are getting benefited if you do on a Scopus. This facility is not there in other publishing, other journal, whatever we were talking, Crossref or Shimago, exclusive. They are all exclusive, and it provides an alternative to the fact factor. And the other, what is H index now? Let's move into H index. Everyone keeps telling, see, any big scientist, they say my H index is this much. Earlier, I used to wonder, what is this H index? Oh, we don't even have any index. What to talk? It was proposed by J.E. Hirsch in 2005, an author level metric. It is an author level metric, how good you are as a scientist, and it measures the productivity and citation impact of the publication done by that particular scientist or a scholar. And how it is calculated is a top tier paper that has been cited 15 times gets one H index. So if you're an author, you have published something, 15 times that particular thing has been cited by various people across the world, then we get one H index. So you see how difficult it is to get one H index. That's why these scientists claim, many scientists, you must have heard, I have a H index of 20. That means 20 into 15 times, each one has gone into 15. So that many times their article has been cited, and that's definitely a cool big thing, right? It's not a small thing. It's definitely a crown of the person as a scientist or an author. And mid-tier paper that's been cited 500 times. The top-notch paper gets 15 times. to get, it is very difficult. That's where the challenge comes. How will you get that 15 times? Many people do dubious things, cheat, do citation, self citation, they do that and all. We are not talking here. That is all a false practice. But the H index is this is the author metrics calculation that we do. And it is the obvious success indicators such as winning the Nobel Prize, being accepted for research fellowships, holding positions at top universities. H index correlation is important on a Scopus, not on the Google Scholar. Google Scholar, I also have few H index. That doesn't carry you big. Really, I'm telling you, H index, you see your analytics. If you go and see the Google Scholar, you will get, all of us will have some H index. We are talking in terms of Scopus. Very tough to get that. And what are the two parameters they consider is quantity and number of paper done by the particular scientist or the author. The other thing is SNIP. Just now I was telling how the impact factor, source of the impact factor is. This is one other machine or a software that calculates. It measures the contextual citation impact, weighing citation based on total number of citations in the particular subject field. They're very important. Others are all citation anyway, but they are discipline specific. Nursing means nursing. How many citations are come in the nursing alone? They filter it based on the discipline. And it is derived by a journal citation count per paper divided by citation potential in its subject field. This is just for your knowledge only. You may look into it, but just remember that there is something called as SNIP, and they do a discipline specific citation calculation to bring in the better author profile. If you are such a big scientist in nursing, nurse researcher, then your name comes out there if the SNIP is there or a Scopus is there. That's why everyone is telling about these things. Then average citation per document that a title receives over a 3-year period time is what their calculation. Just one, not just 1 year. Remember that. Many of us have this up and down. Even I have. Some years I go up in my publication. Sometimes I go low for various reasons. You don't do that. But here you should have a consistent 3-year period of time in your citation. And that's tough unless you are a dedicated researcher, a publisher. It's very difficult. And not only articles and reviews, but also letters and notes and editorial conference papers and other documents are also included in this SNIP. They do that. And unlike Scopus is pure research abstract, nothing else. They don't look into anything. That's why it's very tough to go in there. And the site score derived from by the journal, there's a calculation for 4 years and for a whole year, how it is. So the formula is there. This is how they sit and calculate for each author, each journal for 3 years, how it goes. Then the analytic score is given to the author and you become very popular there. And this one is a company formed by Thomson Reuters and the intellectual property and science business by Onyx Corporation and Baring Private Equity Asia. The Clarivate Analytics publishes an annual highly cited researchers list. If you are in the Clarivate Analytics, if you're publishing in such journal, your authorship will, the name of the author comes up like that. You become the cream there. And this publishes the journal. I told you, if you are in Clarivate journal, the JCR captures us. See, it's all interlinked. That's where the challenge comes for us. So our choice of journal should be like that to go in there. It's a shrewd and a calculative work. It's not just you take some journal and publish it. We have to sit and do some groundwork before we do a publication. Identifies the world's most impactful academic journals, and it gives you all Web of Science curriculum, citation index, expanded social sciences. Everything is given in the Clarivate Analytics. So some journals claim that they're. The other thing is open access journals. Open access journal, I'm sure all of you must have done it. Open access journal is to simply, if you are a novice researcher, go in for open access. At least one time. Why means your name, your popularity comes very fast. Thereafter, your inbox will be flooded with offers, now come for this conference, go for, they'll invite you as a speaker. All these things comes when you do an open access journal. But be careful when you do that. Look at what sort of a journal it is, whether it is peer reviewed. It is, of course, the site licenses or pay-per-view charges are there. Open access means we think it's all free. It's not free. It's not, throughout it's not free. There is some view charges are there for each of the journal. But for us as an author, if you take it into open access, you will see the change in your life. A lot of people you will get acquainted with, lot of publishers to you, a lot of conferences hosted across the nations. They'll call us because they are looking keenly on the open access. The name will come up there. So try once or twice. Leave alone the Scopus. That's for the university, but open access is good. University doesn't take that open access unless otherwise it's a Scopus one. So conventional open access they don't take, and uh, it really gives you a gold open access to your professional life. And for individual articles, funded articles, everything. And authors, institution of funders who pay an open access publishing fee also is being considered here in the open access. Authors provide access to preprints or post-prints with publisher's permission in an institutional or disciplinary archive such as e-commerce, Cornell, or artisanal. You just have to know that how these open access people come across to you, how they reach out to you, and how they take your name as an author. The more you do on open access, the more popular you become. It's like this, like superstar. How many, even if you act in one movie, then superstar acts means that the movie is a hit. Like that, if you do one open access presentation or a publication article, then you become like one superstar. Everyone knows you and everyone will reach out to you. Nobody is looking at what sort of a quality of an article you are doing. So if you want to be popular and, reach out worldwide, then you go in for open access also. It's easy to move ahead like that. Uh, the other thing is DOI. I'm sure all of us know about this DOI, digital object identifier. All the articles that are under high impact factor has got this DOI. ISBN is there. So DOI is the number assigned for all the journal article and the book publication, whatever we do, it's on the first page of the article given. Now, what is the advantage of this DOI is it's a string of numbers, letters, and symbols. It's a permanent identification given for that article. And whenever you say, I have done this article, I have published my article, if you give that DOI number, it's enough. They can easily get your article. A full text can come if you give the DOI. So it's easy to filter that and take, and it is easily to locate the document for citation. DOI number is very important. So who gives all these things? Scopers and high impact factor. Other journals do not give. Many of the journals you must be seeing, they don't even have a DOI number. And now coming to the models of journals, which are open peer review, single blind, all of us know this. So I'm just skipping out that. Remember that peer review is important, and that's exactly what they do in the Scopus. And there are also collaborative peer reviews. It's done by the some of these journals. They work together to submit a unified report of a particular manuscript. And author revises a manuscript under the supervision of one or more reviewers. And post-publication peer review is also done nowadays, whether it stands the test of time and the quality of publication. You also have a manuscript transfer program if you do in a high impact factor journals or a Scopus, where you can transfer the manuscript from one journal to another if you wish to. You can. What are the advantages? We say high impact factor. Unlike your journal, say suppose you are taking any mediocre health action journal or something like that, health journal. You publish your article stays there. But here, if you are doing it on a scope period of time and it is accepted, so that is the biggest advantage of these Scopus journals and high impact factor. So there's a process with that. just for the knowledge. Who is an author? Authenticated information, utilization of resources, thorough knowledge, height of commitment, organized content, relevant and right information. An author is supposed to have all these things. So before we move on as an author, let us, even before selecting a high impact factor, we should check whether we are standing to all these things. The first point I said is trends in research. Six aspects. The latest trends, current trends, whether we are matching to that. We cannot be wearing an old sari and going, right? We go with the current trend, the latest slide, style that is needed by the society. That the author should have an authenticated information, not a falsified one. Resources, proper resource, thorough knowledge on what we have done, height of commitment in publishing. This is where many a times we look, it's very liquid or fluid in state. And organized content. Look into how the journal is asking, what they are asking. Then we present it. Not just what I want. Then if they are asking for conflict of interest, we write agreement, they are asking so many things. Go one by one by one. Height of commitment. It requires a lot of one. Relevant and right information. And the minimum recognized requirement for authorship are making substantial contribution to research. On H index, everything is good, but we should have a substantial contribution to the discipline. Like accountable for the work undertaken. Typically, journals ask author and co-author, that is ORCID number. I'm sure all of you know that ORCID identity is asked. If you are giving ORCID, then I'm sure all of you must have worked on the ORCID. ORCID, every journal gives you ORCID if it is a high impact. So work on the ORCID ID. If you go on the website, in the Google, you just make your own with the affiliation of your own university or the college email ID. You open the ORCID account and recognize and credit for the work done through the ORCID. ORCID ID is very important if you have to look into high impact applications because it confers moral and legal rights and copyright and an important role in shaping academic careers. It is an open review ID given. It provides a persistent digital identifier for the individual as an author. And if you are having an ORCID and if you are publishing in ISSN or ISBN, that is ISSN is International Standard Serial Number. It's a 8-digit code used to identify newspaper, journal, magazine. I'm sure all of you know that ISSN number. Then the ISBN number is there, International Journal of Pharmaceutical Sciences and Research. That number is also the example I've given, ISSN number. So if we should have all these three things. One is DY number we should have. One is offset we should create. Nobody will create for us. We, with our Gmail ID of the institution, with the affiliating university, you create an ORCID ID and have it for yourself. Every article we are publishing to the high impact factor, go with the ORCID ID. They will give for the article what we are having a digital object identifier, DOI number they will give. So if you have ORCID ID and DOI number, you can bring in wherever you are your articles into one platform. Even if you have published some 5 years back, 6 years back, all your articles you can, but keep a record with your ORCID ID. Yeah, either you can search through the ORCID ID or you can search the DOI number. But easiest is ORCID ID because that's our ID. It's like our RN number or something like that. So ORCID should be made this thing. And now it's a very good one because it's an alphanumeric code and it's a membership open to any organization interested in integrating ORCID identifiers. And all the deemed university do have this. And all member fees are used to sustain and develop ORCID for the benefit of global research community. It also offers 2 membership tiers. One is the basic and premium direct and through consortia that provide a number of useful benefits for the author. You have to stand as a now, can an author wish to change the name after having now you have an ORCID, suppose Sharadha Ramesh, ORCID ID is one. Suppose I want to change the name for various reasons. It could be, just like that, some for numerology or whatever. Or as a result of a marriage, some person is changing the name or religious conversion, things like that. Then also the ORCID is giving you a platform to change your ID. there's a way to go, not to just get stuck with the old name and go. That is also given. So author should contact the journal's editorial office for the name change request, and they do it very beautifully. You can do that. And what will happen if the person is diseased, the ORCID ID is there? You already have, say, suppose one X person we have co-author in international, and that person is suddenly, died for some reason, but the article is still alive, right? We are publishing it. It's in the process. The manuscript is already there in the process of publication. So what do? You have to tell the particular this thing and say that this particular ORCID number ID, the person is no more. So what they do when they do a publication, they put a dagger symbol. You can see there on my presentation, dagger symbol, and they say that person is no more and not a corresponding of that. So these are some of the very important aspects when you do a publication time factor or a scopus journal, because the author is there or not, everyone would like to know, because we are committing the email ID and the references. So that's how they are doing it. And the copyright transfer agreement also could go on from that co-author to your own self or whoever that is. And it can be, you can inherit the authorship totally. Say suppose me and one more person, and that person is not dead, then I can inherit the whole property in the journal through my ORCID ID and ask them to do this, and that you can do that. So these are some of the advantages of doing it on a high impact factor journals and scopus journal, which you may not be able to do it in a regular normal journal where you have such facilities, where they don't have these analytics. So can editors and journal staff be authors of a that is also allowed in the scopus if they are allowing it. So that is one thing. And citation and reference to appropriate and relevant this is an essential part of the scholar. It's a shared responsibility. And the author should not engage in excessive self-citation. I told you, I've seen many people do that. Their own article, they'll do citation. They keep telling me also sometimes. There's many people have taught me how to do a citation, but I don't want to do that. Citation is something someone else should do. Why should I do it? But be very careful when you do a citation like that. Because sometimes if it is inappropriate, then it is called a citation stacking, citation cartels, and citation manipulation, and it's a huge breach of our legality. The person can be taken into this thing. And the other thing is there are strict policies preventing people with conflict of interest. Publishing might encourage authors to conceal relevant interest.
Excuse me, ma'am.
Yes.
Ma'am, time
Yes.
is running. Can you fasten
Yeah,
up?
yeah. Doing it. The copyright, I'm sure all of you know that. I'm not moving into that. So this is also one facility that you have in Scopus and other thing. You have exclusive license agreement also. You can take it from the Scopus, and corrections, expressions of concern, retraction, withdrawal. All these are easily available in a high impact and a better journals, scopers, and things like that, what we are talking. So what is the publishing cycle in a high impact factor? Idea generated for article with the trends, journal chosen for publication, journal criteria and article format examined, article drafted in required format as per the journal, and article critic before submission to experts, mentors. Necessary amendments should be made. Article to be submitted to the selected journal, pay, do whatever conflict of interest, everything. Respond to the reviewers when they are asking certain questions, and following which the acceptance will come and the article is published. Now, what is the take-home message here on this MTP? What is that we are looking at? Why are we publishing? I'm sure these many things are there for us. So faculty are considered to be highly influential in their field if you are on a high impact journal. Your article comes in, brings more career growth and success. People identify you as a researcher if you're on a high impact. You also get a better pay package opportunities. You become more visible, more branding. You are not only branded for your own self, your organization also is branded just because you have published certain article in a very good journal, high impact factor. So two benefits you get, your own self and the affiliating university. So for that reason only, we do publish in a high impact factor, and there are so many things. But because deemed universities look at Scopus, we are looking at Scopus, but nevertheless, Web of Science or Crossref, EBSCO, and all is not a bad choice. Clarivate Analytics, all these are very good ones. You can do a publication, but remember that your PAR APA scores, your increment, all these things lay on what you're doing. So that's how it goes. And at this juncture, I would like to thank Dr. Helen Shaji and her team for inviting me, and also the dear delegates and all the people out there listening to me despite the technical glitches in between. Thank you for your, sharing your valuable time on this presentation. If there are any questions, I don't know, if the time permits, I leave it to the organizers. Thank you so much.